So you finished a first draft. Congratulations! That's an achievement in itself, and most people who say they want to write a novel never accomplish. Give yourself a pat on the back. Literally. On the other hand, it's said that good writing is rewriting. So without further ado, here are 10 things that I'm attempting in my second draft. If you're at that point or approaching it, good luck, and I hope this helps. Step 0, or a pre-step if you will. Typos. Most people say to ignore this because you ought to be focusing on the story itself. But I like to have my laptop read my work back to me, and typos are a crime against nature when spoken aloud. A quick sweep once through in this scenario greatly improves your quality of life. If you're purely paper-based, feel free to skip this step. Chances are it'll be rewritten later anyway. Now you have your draft in a format to take notes about, let's get to work. Number 1. Change character and place names. Either keep or research and change. For individuals, families, and where applicable, if they pop up in the history of the world. Number 2. Improve your character development. Chances are you focused heavily on your main character during your first draft, perhaps even your villain. Now it's time for the rest of the cast. No one deserves to be one-dimensional, especially not a love interest. Remember, quirks aren't enough. Saying that they eat cornflakes or like to pick their elbows alone doesn't tell you anything about them. Who are they? What do they dream of? What's their ideal day? Where do they come from? What do they want? Number 3. Check that the tone and voice of your novel suits your target audience. Does it need to be lighter, with more comedy and fluff? Darker, with a creepier atmosphere? Are there lots of long, complicated words? Is the plot and content age appropriate? How many words is it? Depending on the genre and age range, now is the time to drill down into your writing and get these conventions right. Number 4. Check your pacing. Are your main characters introduced too late? Do you have a rise and fall in action? How near the middle or end is your final battle or drama? Now's the time to bring out those beat sheets or story structures. Writing a one-page story synopsis can help. And most importantly for readers, when does the story start? Tip: in most cases, scrapping your first chapter entirely helps. It did for me. Number 5. Ask yourself, would your main character really react that way in those circumstances? Be honest. They're not you. Yes, you have a plot, and you need them to do certain things at certain times. But how your characters come to the conclusion to make that decision and act in a certain way should be authentic and realistic to them, their wants and their histories. Number 6. Embrace a new writing process. I'm a self-professed plotter and wrote my first draft using a word count goal. Because this requires more thinking, I'm using a time-based goal for my rewrite. Given reflections on point 5, I feel like I'm pantsing parts of draft 2. The love interest has been transformed between drafts, so they're no longer one-dimensional. Not only do I have to write the love interest more realistically, but also now how my main character should realistically react to that too. Tip: this is a great time to discover new conflicts via clashing personalities. In this rewrite, I dialed up the romance, since my characters decided 3/4 the way through draft 1 that they liked one another. Now I'm leaning heavily into it. This brings me to number 7. Are you sticking true to your audience? If you label your work as one thing, and then someone picks it up and is going to feel duped, then now's the time to identify it. Either embrace a new genre, pioneer a new genre fusion, or steer back to where it needed to be in the first place. While not as drastic as turning Pride and Prejudice to Pride, Prejudice and Zombies, my rewrite has a lot more romance, but not as all-encompassing as Twilight. I'm dealing with YA, paranormal creatures, and sci-fi. Draft 1 walked the line between fantasy and urban fantasy. Time will tell if after I finish draft 2 where the dominant tropes will fall. Do you know how to tell the difference between a ship and a boat? You can put a boat on a ship, but you can't put a ship on a boat. In the same way, I can test my novel's genre. If the outcome of my story is exactly the same without the romance, it's urban fantasy. If not, paranormal romance. Number 8. Removing duplicated information. Did another character already explain something? Skip it. Number 9. Scatter in realistic body language. For this, I recommend using The Emotions Thesaurus by Angela Ackerman and Becca Puglisi. It helps avoid melodrama, marionettes, dry eye and statue syndrome. And lastly, number 10. I'm making sure my scenes get to the point in either the most efficient or dramatic way possible, depending. Ask what work you want your scene to do and stick to it. Want a dramatic reveal? Build up to it. A page turner? Cut the waffle. Fluff? Slow it down and pile in the sweetness. Well, that's it for this discussion. I hope you enjoyed this insight into the process of redrafting and what I've been working on this year. All easier said than done. If you're also tackling a second draft, good luck. If you have any tips or methods for approaching your own second drafts, please drop them in the comments. Now it's time for me to get back to work, as I continue to write my story one day at a time.